Are you ready to develop your organization skills, especially when you are a virtual assistant? If this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lai. I run a virtual assistant agency in the Philippines called 2XU, and I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. And when it comes to working from home or being a virtual assistant, one of the key things that you have to keep in mind is you need to develop your organization skills. This is applicable to almost any other job out there, not just being a virtual assistant, but primarily if you are. Because for any job that you get, you need to know how to organize and how to make sure that you are on track, basically. Because one of the bigger things when you work from home is most of the time you'll be self-managed. You'll be taking care of yourself more rather than having a manager or someone else hover between desks or looking behind you, making sure you're working the right thing. Organization skills are important. And one of the first things that you need to do is to create your workspace. Now, this is not yet your digital workspace, but your physical workspace. What I mean by this is ensuring that you have a good place to at least work. Now, if you do work from home and you have a shared space with your family, you might just be working in the living room or the kitchen or somewhere else that's a shared space with everyone else in the family, then you want to make sure that at least you have your table, your computer right there, and being able to be blocked off enough where if you're on Zoom calls, people won't see people walking behind you. What this further means is that you want to make sure that you have a clean desk. You don't want to throw things on there that don't belong there. So for me, for example, I have a pretty good organizational structure. So I have a place for my personal files. I have a place for work files that I needed to be printed out, signatures and things like that. I have a place for all of my electronics and my wires. I basically just have different categorizations of where things are at in my workspace. So it's easy for me to grab them, but it also doesn't clutter my space. It doesn't make me feel that I'm cluttered because I have everything everywhere else. And this is key because if everything else is cluttered, you won't be able to focus just as well because everything's everywhere else. So you want to make sure that you have a clean desk, you have your equipment ready, whether you just have your laptop or you have your keyboard and your mouse just like I do, or a second monitor, making sure that you have everything easy enough for you to reach if you need it, like chargers, making sure your earphones if you need it, or your microphone, things like that, making sure it's easy to reach at the very least, so then it's easy for you to grab things and not have to try to remember where things are at. Next is you want to go ahead and create your work schedule. Now, this is essential to keep yourself organized and to also create that work-life balance, is putting in your schedule. Now, most of the time your client will probably have a schedule for you, but just in case that you're more on the flexible and it can blur things really, really quickly of like, hey, I can run errands right now or I can do this. It's really important that you have at least your Google Calendar set up where you can block out the times that you do want to work, that you do want to focus, that you do want to think about certain things. So it's absolutely key that you make sure that these things are on your calendar so you know what your schedule is and you're keeping yourself organized and making sure that you actually get the work done during the work hours that you put in. For a lot of newbies, when it comes to working from home, again, especially if they have the more flexible schedule, it can be very jarring for them to set their own work schedule. Now, you can sync this with whenever your boss is working, if they're on the other side of the world and different time zones, making sure you have 3 to 4 hours where you're working with them, get a little bit of an overlap, and the rest you have to schedule out when you want to work during that day. Because again, it's all about keeping yourself organized so you don't overwork yourself, you don't burn out, you don't, oh, I've been working 60 hours this week, trying to make sure you avoid that. So it's making sure that you have that work schedule for yourself. Next is setting protocols basically with your employer or your teammates. So what I mean by this is establishing communication channels of when certain people can be bugged basically and when you can be bugged. You could also be setting protocols with your family of like, hey, I'll be working around this time because your work schedule. I would appreciate if you guys wore headphones if I was working so I don't hear what you're working on, or if I'm on a call, no one will hear it. Things like that where you're setting boundaries basically with the people that you love, which is your family, and the people that you work with. And what are the things that are okay and that are not okay? That way they know how to work with you, and you don't have to build up resentment of like, oh my God, they're doing this. They know I'm going to be annoyed by this, but like, do they really know? Next is to start writing everything down. Now, what I mean by everything is one of the things or one of the mistakes that I've seen a lot of people make, especially when it comes to being a virtual assistant, is they don't take a lot of good notes. And what I mean by that is they're going on meetings with clients, they're doing tasks, they're getting things done, but they're not actually writing things down. They're not documenting what are things that they actually got done, what are things that were discussed, what are takeaways, especially when it's coming from a meeting, what are notes from the things that they've studied, or what did they even study in the first place. So it's important that you start creating your own system of what this looks like. And I highly recommend a book called Building a Second Brain if you want to learn more about this. And the author Tiago Forte has a lot of videos on YouTube on how to do just this. But it's important that you start just having the habit at least of writing things down. So the next meeting they have your client of like, what was the thing that we discussed again? You don't have to go through those areas basically. Next is, as you're writing everything down, hopefully you're also starting to create a database. So what I mean by database, and I use Notion for this, is I have a database for my notes. I have a database for my shopping list. What I mean with database is you have a list for your lists. You have a way for you to find certain notes, certain things within your system. Now again, I got this from Building a Second Brain book, but it's basically making sure that it's easy for you to search and find the things that you're looking for just like that, like very instantly. So it could be that you created a database of all the links for the Google Docs for your client or for yourself. It could be that you created links for all the social media for the company if you're a social media manager. It could be that you have one place where you can find notes from all of the meetings you've ever had with every single person. You mark down, you have the who you had it with, when you had it with, what were the takeaways, so you can go back to it very easily. But the point of creating a database is, again, having one place where it's easy for you to just Control F and find the thing that you needed to find. Which brings me to the next thing, which is starting to organize files. Now this goes to both your files and your client's files. Now I always recommend, if you are starting to work from home, if you don't have a client yet, have a separate work profile on your computer, because this will help you just organize files a little bit faster and easier. So on your work profile, as the name states, is this where when you're working, when you're downloading files, when you're getting things for your client, everything, all of the files are there, versus when you're not working, when you're just on your personal thing, you're downloading pictures of your family, blah, blah, blah. You have it in another part of your computer, basically. They're separated in memory. So this is one of the easier ways that you can probably get this done. When it comes to organizing files, you can definitely easily just ask ChatGPT to help create like a folder structure for you, or filing names. But the importance of this is, again, making it easy, aside from your database, making it easy for everyone else outside of you to find certain files, certain things, because you have them organized in a space. This is one of the key things, the key tasks that a lot of virtual assistants in our company do, is just organizing the files of their clients, because they didn't really have the time to organize it. So try to find what are the common things that get lost or people can't find easily within your client's company, and start organizing them, renaming them, so it's easy to find them the next time. Next is, you need to start thinking about organizing inputs. Now, what I mean by input is anything that arrives into your attention. This could be your inbox, this could be your calendar, this could be chats, this could be meetings, this could be tasks, this could be things that people have given to you as a task or delegated to you as a task. You need to have a way that you can manage and process all of this so you can organize them into your database, hopefully. So what I mean by this is having a way that you can organize your inbox in a way that nothing falls through the cracks. If there were tasks that were given on there, things you needed to respond to, it is clearly marked within your own system. Your calendar, making sure nothing falls through the cracks, especially when you're doing the meeting. Having a way to process basically meetings from notes, and also a way to make sure that you capture tasks that are given to you and that it goes into the right databases or your to-do list in the best way that, again, nothing falls through the cracks. And next, in developing your organization skills, it's important that you develop knowing what are things that are urgent, meaning they have deadlines, and important, meaning they have weight to it. They have some sort of value of why they are important. As an example, for something that would be urgent and important, it could be responding to a client email because they're pretty pissed. Urgent and important could be responding to a team member's chat just because they really needed something so they can meet their deadline. And then not urgent and important could be organizing files, because that would be needed later on. You can refer to what we call the Eisenhower matrix, so you can learn more about this and you can get better at it. But it's important for you, especially again if you are a virtual assistant, that you hone this as a skill, because this adds on to your organizational skills. Next is to start creating templates for yourself, for your team, for other people, especially when it comes to recurring tasks, so it makes it easier for you to get work done. This could be email templates, these could be document templates. This could be things that you have noticed that come up over and over again that you have to keep creating from scratch, and you just creating a format or a template so it's easier for you the next time that you do it, and again, organizing it into your database. Next is, as you now kind of culmination of everything else that you've now been doing, hopefully to keep yourself organized, is setting weekly and daily priorities. Now, I do this with my assistant all the time, although at this point she tells me what are the priorities, but it's making sure that you are aligned with what actually needs to get done with everyone else. What are the urgent and important things, and setting it weekly, and then of course trickling it down to daily of what actually needs to get done every single day. So you know what is the focus, and you don't have to feel a bit scattered. You're not sure what to do next. You know there's a flow basically to your week and to your day. And lastly, and this is key, is going ahead and doing a monthly setting or retrospective or review, whatever you want to call it, but going through basically what happened in the last month, and then setting goals basically for the next month. Now in 2XU, we call it setting your objectives and key results. It's basically a key way for us to know if our EAs are on the right track when it comes to working with their clients for that month, for setting the goals and the projects that will need to get done for that month. So it's easier for us later on to reflect of like, oh yeah, they were aligned, they were able to get this done. And also for you, again, that alignment would be key to keep yourself organized, because you know what to do next. You don't have to be prompted. It's clear to you what those things are. Now, getting organized doesn't have to feel very tedious. When you set up the right systems, it can be so easy and so relaxing to know that things are taken care of because past you did it basically. But if you do have any questions, make sure to comment them below. And if you, of course, if you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and with that, small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.